Hi guys, welcome to my weekly vibrational astrology forecast video. This is for the week ahead of Monday, February 17th through Sunday, February 23rd, 2020. Now, I am doing this video on Tuesday, February 18th, so I didn't actually get it out on Monday like I normally do, but you know what? I think I'm going to blame it on Mercury retrograde because I had so many things like obstacles to get in my way yesterday when I wanted to record. But it's okay. I ended up deciding to just wake up fresh this morning and record it. So here we are. Thank you guys for being patient and those of you that watch my videos weekly. I also wanted to say there wasn't a lot of astrology going on Monday, even though I will talk about it. I did touch on things that were going on last week on Monday because I kind of do that, like kind of blend over each of the weeks. In case something like this happens. So if you like, you can also listen to that video as well. So I did want to say thank you guys so much for the feedback that you gave me on last week's video when I announced that I was opening my Sirius Astrology School.com website so that you guys can learn vibrational astrology from me. Thank you for all the feedback, all the questions. I'm going to answer all of the questions in a separate video just about Sirius Astrology School. I'm going to do that because I think it's better than taking up all the time here in this. I know you guys are watching this video because you want to see what's going to happen this week, what the energies are going to be like. So I won't go too deep into that. I just will tell you, if you haven't seen that video, go back and watch it. Then you can ask me more questions and I will take all the questions I already have and any more questions that come to me and answer it in a separate video. So feel free to ask questions. I'm happy to answer them. I'm excited about the school. I plan on starting classes September 19th, 2020. So, okay, enough of that. Next thing I want to talk about is this week. I'm so excited. On Saturday the 22nd, I am doing a workshop in Davie, Florida at Nova University with the Florida Atlantic NCGR chapter. It's a workshop on vibrational astrology, teaching the basics of vibrational astrology, and then I'm going to use the charts of the people that are attending, and I'm going to demonstrate how it works. I want you to walk away from this workshop knowing how to look at the chart using vibrational astrology. That's my intention. I want you to feel comfortable doing that. Vibrational astrology is a huge theoretical framework, so it's not like it's something you can teach in a workshop in one day, like this is going to be a day-long workshop. It's not something you could teach the entirety of in a day-long workshop. So that's where the Sirius Astrology School comes from, because I want to teach the entirety of vibrational astrology, but it can't be taught like in a one-day workshop. Even in the Vibrational Astrology Conference that is coming in March, it can't be taught in an entire weekend conference either. The reason being is because there's so many layers and layers and layers to it. But, you know, that's astrology in and of itself. Vibrational astrology, having this theoretical framework, means that, you know, we have to live within the confines of that, and because that's what works. Because these theories, this theoretical framework has been tested out. It's an evidence-based approach to astrology, which is beautiful and which is why I love it. So yeah, I did mention the Florida Atlantic NCGR chapter hosting me for the weekend workshop that I'm doing on the 22nd. Please come if you're in the South Florida area and you would like to learn about vibrational astrology. And then, of course, the conference that's going to be in Gainesville, Florida at the end of March. It's the 27th through the 29th. It's so exciting. I cannot wait to see what the researchers have to share with us, because I know they've been working so hard on their research and their presentations. I know that because last year I did 2 presentations and it was a lot of work. A lot of work and energy goes into doing the research and then the presentations and then sharing it. So I'm super excited to see what they have to share with us. And I also want to say that there's a pre-conference. So if you don't know anything about vibrational astrology, you can go to the pre-conference. David Cochrane himself, the inventor, so to speak, of vibrational astrology, will be teaching the pre-conference. It's exciting. He will be able to share with you the basics of it so you can go into the conference and have some kind of knowledge of vibrational astrology. So go to the pre-conference if you haven't already, you know, signed up to do so. If you'd like to, you can look at all the links to everything that I'm talking about is below too. And the last thing that I wanted to say is if you would like to get a consultation with me, I am an astrologer, a vibrational astrologer. I'm also a tarot reader. I read tarot. I love guiding people. It is something that is really my passion and my heart. So feel free to check my website out. It is rockstarastrologer.com. Call myself Rockstar Astrologer because my name is Starlene. I love crystals and gemstones. For those of you that don't know, I actually own a crystal shop, online crystal shop. And, you know, well, I'm an astrologer and my name is Star, so Rockstar Astrologer kind of fit me, right? So go to my website, check it out. There are some sales that I have going on till the end of February, so on consultations, so check it out. If you'd like to get a consultation with me, let me know, you know, or message me on social media. All my links to all that are below, so that's that. Those are my announcements. Now, I'm going to go ahead and jump into the astrology for the week. Oh wait, before I do, one more thing I did want to talk about. I did something super exciting last week. On the 13th, I did a video with Fiona Stoltz. It was exciting for many reasons. One, because Fiona is amazing. She's such a beautiful soul that I just like love. I've known her for about 10 years. She is a creator of the mandala oracle deck called the Sea of Calm. And it makes so much sense because she's a triple Cancer that she named it that. And what we did is we were both on video together and we did a live video where we talked about her Sea of Calm and things that we were doing and things that we're advancing towards. And then we talked about asking people if they wanted cards, and I used tarot and she used her beautiful Sea of Calm deck, and we gave cards and messages to people. It was a really fun video. You can go to my YouTube channel and check it out, and you can enjoy that. If you do enjoy that, or you'd like to be part of our next one, you can go to you can come to it. It is on the 27th of February. The 27th of February at 4 p.m. We're going to do another live video like that. If you're subscribed to my channel, you will get a notification of that, as well as any other videos that I put up. My intention is to put up videos on Thursday. So whether it be something along the lines with what I did with Fiona, or someone else that's an astrologer or a tarot reader, I plan on having other people on as well, because I think that's something fun and interesting to do. I plan on centering around Thursday, hopefully keeping that date. And if it's not a connection with another person, a collab with another person, it is going to be a teaching video. So this week is going to be the teaching video, and then the following week will be Fiona again. So all of that said, let's get into the midpoints. The midpoints. So the first thing with the midpoints from last week is Mercury is at the midpoint of Uranus and Pluto. This had started on the 15th and it goes to Tuesday the 17th. And there's no peak to this because Mercury actually went retrograde on Sunday evening, my time at least, Eastern time. So what this is somewhat a restless mind. The mind is somewhat restless. It's almost like intense thoughts that are going on. But the thing about it that can be very positive is that we can be very inventful and resourceful during this time with our mind. We can think about things from an inventful kind of space. So if you haven't thought things before, you want to kind of figure out new ways of thinking, this would be a great time to do that. Of course, this does end today. The energy of it kind of dissipates by today, but it has definitely been in play in the last few days. So that was the only midpoint that had come over from last week. The new midpoints from this week, the first one is Sun at the Venus-Jupiter midpoint. This is February 17th through the 22nd. So it's Monday through Saturday, and the peak date is on Thursday. Sun at Venus-Jupiter is like warm heart, beautiful, kindness, love. There would be goodwill or good energy towards other people. This week is a nice week in that sense that it has a connectivity with other people. And, you know, that Venus-Jupiter makes us want to kind of socialize and be friendly with other people, get to know other people, that sort of thing. Not typical Mercury retrograde stuff, but you know what? I think Mercury retrograde gets a little blown out of proportion. I think during the station periods, when it's station direct or station retrograde, is when it's most intense. But during the retrograde, it doesn't seem to be as intense. So go out and enjoy yourself this week. This is a nice energy to do that. It's a nice energy to socialize and expand your horizons. So that is a beautiful midpoint for this week. The next midpoint is Mercury at the midpoint of Sun Neptune. This is on the weekend, so it's Friday and Saturday, and the peak is on Saturday. This has our mind being like illuminated in some sense and in ways that are not linear. So we might be thinking like here to here to here to here to here. Things happen. Our minds are not always linear, and don't allow yourself to feel like, oh my gosh, I don't know, like if you're one of those linear thinking type people, you might have a harder time with this. But step back and allow yourself to like kind of wander in the abyss of your mind sometimes so that you can create and find and explore different things. So allow yourself to be a little bit unlinear in your thinking. The one downside of this is that you could sometimes or somewhat feel like things are being deceptive to you, or feel like there's illusions going on. So if you're feeling kind of that way, like you're not sure, maybe it's not the best time to make decisions for yourself, but allow yourself the ability to think outside of the box a little bit, and maybe even to think about what you would like to happen with yourself in a mental state and in an idealistic way. Like what would idealistic things for your thoughts be like? What would that be like? What does that vibe feel like for you? Your mind being idealistic. Some of us don't have that ability. I've been learning that some people have a straight path to where they're going, and that's just all that they think, and they don't think beyond that deviation of the straight path. This is not that. This is beyond the deviation of the straight path. So if you're one of those people, try to step back and say, okay, how can I deviate from my thoughts being one way? Okay, moving on. And this is what I did want to mention in the beginning, is that we have some Uranian energy coming up this week. Uranus really does want us to be in the present moment. It's important for us to be in the present moment when Uranus is being very active, because if we're not in the present moment, sometimes we can have mishaps or frustrations or whatnot. The only thing that happens in the present moment is that, well, the best thing that happens in the present moment, I should say, is that we're really given insight into our intuition. If we're not present, if we're contemplating about the past or lamenting over the past, or we're thinking about the future, we're not present, and we're not able to tap into that resourceful inner innovation, inspiration to come to us. We're just not. So being present is really important this week. So moving on to the next midpoint is Mercury at the midpoint of Jupiter Uranus. Now this is another midpoint that happens on the weekend. This is the 21st and the 22nd. So it's Friday and Saturday. The peak is on the 22nd. This is many different thoughts. The mind is very expansive during this time and really in the present moment. You'll want to feel that way. This can be a time of really good fortune, especially in regards to one's occupation. So this is a time for you to really expand your mind. How can you make your occupation better? How can you make your occupation, if your occupation is school, this would be a great time to study. I know that I say that in a funny way, but like I do believe that when we're in school, that is an occupation for us because we're learning something to grow forward. This is a great time to study. This is a great time to be very, very present with your mind, with your thoughts, and allow yourself to think beyond the box, which is important, I think, as well. So the last midpoint to talk about, except for the midpoints during the new moon, is a midpoint that is going to begin this week and end next week. So it is the Sun at Mars Uranus, and this is Saturday through next Monday. So the peak is on Sunday the 24th. So it's the 23rd. So it is the 22nd through the 24th, with the peak being on the 23rd. This is the ability to adjust to new circumstances. So in some sense, you need to really be present in the moment and kind of keep any frustration or mishaps or accidents from happening. When we connect Mars and Uranus, a lot of times that is like our energy is being speeded up and we're just like going. But if we're not in the present moment, we can have an accident happen. For instance, like during this time, if you are, going for a run and you're really not being present, you're not watching what you're doing, your mind is on your grocery list or something, maybe you kind of step on a rock and fall down or something, you know, like that could happen, as opposed to if you're just going for a run and you're really present and paying attention to everything, you would see the rock, right? So that's just a small like way of looking at this particular midpoint. This can also be a very powerful force for you, but it requires you to be in the present moment. So if you want to get things accomplished, if you want to get things accomplished, especially on a physical level, because this is Mars, this is our energy, this is the sun, which is the essence of us. You know, if you want to create that, you just have to be present and you put your energy where you want it to be, as opposed to putting your energy on something you don't want to focus on. So try to remember to focus your energy on things that you really do want to happen during this particular midpoint. So those are my midpoints for this week. I'm going to go ahead and move on to the 2 planet aspects and the ingresses this week. On Monday, like I said, we have no aspects that go on. On Tuesday, February 18th, we have the sun entering into the sign of Pisces. So the sun into the sign of Pisces. That actually does happen. I didn't write it down. Let's see when it actually happens. At 11:57 p.m. Eastern time. So it's barely on Tuesday. And if you are in a different time zone, it could be, if you're past the Eastern USA time zone, it will be on Wednesday for you. So this time with the sun entering into the sign of Pisces, you know, the way I look at the zodiac is that the zodiac has a flavor. It flavors the planets. So the flavor of the sun in Pisces is that of like us connecting to our inner thoughts, our inner world, our inner dreams. You know, Pisces is ruled by Jupiter and also by Neptune. So in a sense, Pisces is, you know, connecting to what's inside of ourselves, what we want to express with ourselves, we want to emote with ourselves. It is a very sensitive kind of time. A lot of times people with Pisces placements are sensitive people. They're emotional people. It is a water sign. It is the very last sign in the zodiac. So it is the last sign of the winter season in the northern hemisphere. So when the sun enters Aries next month, it will be spring. That's how the tropical zodiac works. Every time we go into a cardinal sign, that is when the season changes. So every cardinal sign, the season changes. So Aries, it changes to spring, and that will be next month. So yeah, so sun in Pisces, I mean, I think, you know, it's very emotional, very sensitive. You might notice that you're feeling very sensitive, especially since Pisces, since Mercury is in Pisces right now in retrograde. You know, we'll be crossing over, of course. Mercury will be going back into Aquarius for a few days, but, you know, you may notice that you're feeling a little sensitive during this time. That's all I'm really going to say about, you know, the sun in Pisces, because I think there's so much more to astrology than just looking at one planet in one sign. But it can be more sensitive, more emotional, more idealistic even. Okay, so moving on, Wednesday, February 19th, we do not have any exact aspects as well. Thursday, February 20th, we have Jupiter in Capricorn making a sextile to Neptune in Pisces. Now, I love this transit. This began last week on Friday. I don't think I actually mentioned it in my video last week, but I meant to. There was so much going on. But it began last Friday, it peaks this Thursday, and it lasts till the following Wednesday. This is like mystical inspiration. Jupiter making a sextile to Neptune. Jupiter expands our minds, it expands our being, it expands our soul. It wants us to travel to different places, whether the traveling is on the physical plane or in our minds or etherically. You know, Jupiter is that expansive energy. And it's making a sextile, which is an active, harmonious trine, if you will. That's another aspect in astrology, to Neptune in Pisces. Neptune's super happy in Pisces because it rules over Pisces. And, you know, this beautiful energy is giving us a chance to really tap into our mystical side, you know, tap into our inspiration, ask ourselves, you know, are we really living that beautiful life that we want to live? If we're not, then how can we make that happen for ourselves? This is a great time to do that. This is a great time to actually start up a meditation practice if you don't already do it. This would be a wonderful time to do that. It would also be a wonderful time to connect with other people of spiritual like minds. So you could probably, you know, get to know some people and learn from them as well as they probably could learn from you. So the next aspect, or next day, Friday, February 21st, is Mars in Capricorn making a trine to Uranus and Taurus. And this happens at 4:10 a.m. So, and this will be for a couple days around Friday. This is us really being present and thinking about the present rather than thinking about the past. Reflection is really best left for another day, because Mars and Uranus, like I was telling you about you guys about this earlier, they want us to be present. Mars being our energy, saying, oh, I'm going to go, go, go. And then Uranus being, be present, be aware, pay attention to what you're doing. They are making a trine, so this is not a hard aspect. It can sometimes make us feel even a little bit lazy and maybe feeling a little bit like, you know, chill. So do something with yourself that is feeling like you are enjoying yourself, like you are doing something that's very present. Meditation might be a good active day to do that. It might feel like you can't sit still to do it, but it also might feel like, okay, this is what I really want to put my attention on. Whatever you want to put your attention on is going to be easily done on that day. So, or around that day. So keep yourself, you know, aware and putting your attention on what you are seeking. So moving on to Saturday, February 22nd, we have the Sun in Pisces sextiling Uranus in Taurus. This happens at 9:13 a.m. It's just a day-long aspect because it's the Sun. And this is like original ideas, putting our ideas into some kind of action, even being creative with our action. And how do we be creative? Like if I make jewelry. So if I'm making jewelry, I can't, you know, like really focus on my jewelry making if I am really focused on what am I cooking for dinner? My mind is somewhere else. It's not going to come out the same. So it's an important key element in this perspective, during this aspect, to focus on what you're doing. And if you're doing something creative, which you may be inspired to do, then to focus on it and to do that creative thing, that which you're seeking to be creative with. So I think it's a great idea and great practice this week. Like I said, being present, reminding yourself to be present. Hey, we're human too. I just want you guys to think about this. If you're like, oh man, I have this hard time being present. We're human. We're going to be thinking about things when, you know, we're doing something creative. You know, the grocery list is going to pop up. The idea of what we're doing next week is going to pop up. But bringing yourself back to that idea of, oh, I need to be present is the trick. You know, that's the trick that gets you back to remembering being present is the important part of it. So keep that in the back of your mind as we go through this week and this week unfolds. Okay, so that is Saturday the 22nd. Sunday the 23rd, we have the new moon in Pisces. This happens at 10:32 a.m. Eastern Time. And the new moon in Pisces, this is our last new moon before we have our astrological new year, which is when the sun moves into the sign of Aries, like I mentioned earlier, the first day of spring. That's our astrological new year. And so the new moon in Pisces is our last new moon of the astrological year. So new moons, we're always trying to like set new intentions, set new boundaries for ourselves. You know, the new moon in Pisces, it's connecting us to our inner souls. You know, I've heard Pisces being described as, since it's the last sign of the zodiac, it has a little bit of every one of the zodiacs previous to it. So it has a little bit of Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, so on and so forth into Pisces. And that makes sense in some sense when you're thinking just about the energy of Pisces, because Pisces is like the collective of everything, you know, and as the zodiac unfolds, going from Aries being like a small child just being born, to Taurus being like an infant, to Gemini being like, you know, a little bit older than an infant, but curious about the world. You know, the zodiac does go in this the whole transition. When we get to Pisces, it's like we're under the spell of the wise old man, the wise old woman. So, you know, this is the Pisces energy. The Pisces new moon is saying, hey, what have you accomplished this past year? What have you done with yourself? Are you happy? Are you in the direction you need to be, you want to be? What kind of adjustments can you make? I think it's a great day to set some intentions for yourself about where you want to be in the future, where you want to put yourself in the future, and project yourself even into the next year. Because like I said, it's the end of the astrological year this month. So, you know, I think it's an important thing for us to think about. We do have two midpoints that are very, very strong during the new moon in Pisces. I'm going to talk about them for a moment. The first one I already talked about was the sun at the midpoint of Mars and Uranus. Now, this is only 17 minutes from exact during the new moon. So for those of you that don't know about degrees and minutes, minutes are not a measurement of time. They're a measurement of space, so to speak. But the sun at Mars-Uranus, like I had mentioned, it is the ability to adjust to new circumstances. Being present in the moment is definitely helpful to keep accidents from happening, and it can be very powerful. Now, that is very true. So that is going on during our new moon. So it's really saying with the sun, right? Because the sun and the moon, when they're new, when the moon is new, means the sun and the moon are conjunct each other in the sky. So that is the new moon. So the sun, whatever is going on with the sun in the form of a midpoint during the new moon, it's also going on with the moon. So we have the moon at the midpoint of Mars and Uranus too, also at 17 minutes. Now, the sun at Mars-Uranus is like saying being very present moment, be very aware of things to keep accidents from happening, but also allowing the inspiration to come to you. The moon at Mars-Uranus is energy or power of life that is governed by feelings. So this gives this new moon a very Mars-Uranus energy. You know, this gives us the chance to achieve something really big with our ambitions. We'll emotionally feel that because the moon is at the Mars-Uranus midpoint, and then we'll also feel that in our soul because the sun is at the midpoint of the Mars-Uranus, but as at the midpoint of Mars and Uranus. Yeah, so like we have this new moon, right, which is like the sun and the moon conjunct at the midpoint of Mars and Uranus. Mars-Uranus here, so to speak, like if you're looking at a chart. So this is a powerful time. It's a chance for us to say, hey, this is where we want to put our energy. This is where we really want to focus ourselves. And it has to do with this. Whatever you happen to want to be, whatever placement in your world that you are in, this is where you want to put your attention. And I would encourage you to light a candle, say a prayer, set some intentions, write them down, do some visualization, something during this new moon about where you do want to project yourself into the future. And this is a special new moon because of the Mars-Uranus midpoint that the moon and sun are both in. So the last thing I want to talk about is that next week you can join me on my video for the Vibrational Astrology forecast. It will be I'll talk about the sun conjunct Mercury in Pisces. It is the inferior conjunction marking the halfway point of the Mercury retrograde phase. And then I will also talk about Venus square Pluto and other powerful aspects. So that will be next week's video. Also, before I let you guys go, I wanted to talk about the gemstone suggestion for the week. And now this is one of my favorite gemstones. It is fluorite. Fluorite is awesome. The only thing about fluorite for me is that I can't sleep with it because it gives me I get really focused and my dreams are intense. And so I had to learn this through trial and error, because I used to love wearing a pendant made of fluorite that I never really took off. But I realized that it was giving me these really intense dreams, and I quit wearing it and realized that it was the pendant because I'd fallen asleep a few times with it on still and realized, oh, okay, this is what's going on. So I'll give you a few examples. Here's a raw piece of fluorite, raw chunk of fluorite. It's kind of pinkish, purplish. Fluorite comes in many different colors. Fluorite is wonderful at helping us focus. It absorbs negative energy. It absorbs the electromagnetic smog that's around us. So if you're feeling electromagnetic smog, like if you have like computers and electronics around you, placing fluorite around you is really helpful for that because it absorbs that energy. It also helps us to be stable and in the present moment. Sounds very Uranian, doesn't it? It helps us to be very mentally aware as well. Here's a beautiful, sorry, I had a sticker on the back of that, beautiful heart that I have. As you can see, the patterns in it, right? Isn't that gorgeous? I love it. And it's all different colors. I know it doesn't show up as good on the camera as it does in real life, but it's absolutely a beautiful heart. You do not need a fancy piece of fluorite. You can get a small piece of fluorite, of course. Here is another piece of fluorite. This is a sphere. Obviously, it's got some green and some purple and some white up here. And here's a really blue one. Blue is really gorgeous. Blue piece of fluorite. And then the last one I want to share with you is this piece of fluorite, which is a piece of an octahedron that was cut off. As you can see, there were parts of octahedrons that had started to form. This one actually is really old. My father had given this piece to me that he had collected when he was young. So this one's my favorite piece. Fluorite's great. It'll help you focus. It'll help you be present in the present moment. It's an awesome stone to have with you this week. The last stone that I wanted to share with you is kyanite. Kyanite is a great stone to help open up your throat chakra, allowing you to speak. This is a large piece of kyanite with some quartz, quartz over here on it, as you can see. It's gorgeous. You don't need a big piece. Here's a small polished piece of kyanite. It's really pretty, polished and gorgeous. And then just another smaller piece of kyanite. I'm suggesting blue kyanite because it connects with the Uranus energy this week. You can put it on your throat chakra if you're feeling your throat chakra needs some attention and to be able to communicate and to be very present. I would even tell you, you can put other stones on this or near this that the kyanite itself will cleanse the other stones. So say you have a piece of fluorite in your office and it's, it's doing its job and connecting with all the electromagnetic smog from your electronics, but yet you feel like it's kind of energetically dull, right? You could take it and you could put it on top of your kyanite like this and allow it to sit there for like 24 hours and the kyanite will cleanse the other stone. So kyanite does not pick up negative energy. It just transmutes it. So both are great to work together. Both are wonderful to work with this week. Kyanite also helps to, like I said, open the throat chakra and allow you to speak from the heart, because when the throat chakra is closed, we are not allowed to actually speak from the heart. It doesn't come out of us. So that winds up my video for the week. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I look forward to seeing you on the next one, and I hope you guys have a wonderful week. Bye-bye.